everyone, this is Miss Anne, and welcome to another edition of our Fairy Tale Fridays. Today we're going to read a few stories from the Stinky Cheeseman and Other Fairly Stupid Tales by Jon Scieszka Lane Smith. So we're also going to talk about the difference between a parody and a satire. You didn't think you were going to learn anything today, but I have to disappoint you. You're going to learn something. The first story we're going to read, and then I'll get to the parody versus satire argument, is the classic story of Chicken Little, told in a very unique, funny way. Chicken Little is a story of a small little chick who one day goes outside and something falls on her head, and she thinks that the sky is falling. It is not, in fact, the sky. It is just an acorn that fell on her. So she learns a valuable lesson. It is a classic fable and one of my personal favorites. I one time played Chicken Little in a first grade play, so it is near and dear to my heart. So this adaptation is called Chicken Licken, and I'll do my very best to do it justice. And we start with those obligatory words of once upon a time. Chicken Licken was standing around when a piece of something fell on her head. But she wasn't the brightest thing on two legs, so she started running around in circles, clucking, "The sky is falling, the sky is falling, we must tell the president." Chicken Licken ran into her friend, Ducky Lucky, and clucked, "Ducky Lucky, Ducky Lucky, the sky is falling, we must tell the president." "Let's go," quacked Ducky Lucky. Chicken Licken and Ducky Lucky ran into their friend, Goosey Lucy, and yelled, "Goosey Lucy, the sky is falling, we must tell the president." "Let's go," honked Goosey Lucy. Chicken Licken, Ducky Lucky, and Goosey Lucy ran into their friend Cocky Locky and yelled, Cocky Locky, the sky is falling, we must tell the president." "Let's go," crowed Cocky Locky. Wait a minute, cried Jack, the narrator. I forgot the table of contents. "Hey, you're not in this story," said Chicken Licken. "I know," said Jack the narrator, "but I came to warn you. The table of contents is, the sky is falling, clucked Chicken Licken. "We must go tell the president." So Chicken Licken, Ducky Lucky, Goosey Lucy, and Cocky Locky ignored Jack the narrator and ran off to catch a plane to Washington. Just outside the airport they met Foxy Loxy. Foxy Loxy, the sky is falling, we must go tell the president," yelled Chicken Licken, Ducky Lucky, Goosey Lucy, and Cocky Locky. "Well, come with me," said Foxy Loxy. "I know a shortcut to the airport." Foxy Loxy led Chicken Licken, Ducky Lucky, and Goosey Lucy, and Cocky Locky to his cave. He didn't eat them, though, because Chicken Licken was almost right. The sky wasn't falling. The table of contents was, and it fell and squashed everybody. The end. Not what you were expecting, right? So this is a parody. It's making fun of some aspects of it, of the original Chicken Little. In the sense that she's warning everybody about the sky is falling, just like that original. The difference is that we have the addition of the narrator Jack, and we also have Foxy Loxy, who tries to lure her away, and was trying to do something very untoward. But this is a parody. This is making fun of the original source material and poking fun and poking little holes. A satire is going to go take a step further and talk about the world at large. I don't think this is really doing that. It's not really poking fun with anything. Maybe you could argue that don't go trusting foxes. Maybe don't do that. Trusting people that you don't know, like Foxy Loxy. But ultimately, it's not really making fun of anything or highlighting anything in the world at large. So we would call this a parody, most likely. So let's dive into another one of these and see if maybe we can figure out if it's a parody or not. Okay, so this next one is called The Really Ugly Duckling. I think you guys know the original. The original is The Ugly Duckling. And what happens in that one? We have an ugly duckling who is born ugly and made fun of, but then one day he miraculously turns into a swan, right? And is beautiful in the end. Well, let's see what happens in this one. Again, we start with the words. Once upon a time, there was a mother duck and a father duck who had 7 baby ducklings. 6 of them were regular-looking ducklings. The 7th was a really ugly duckling. Everyone used to say, "What a nice-looking bunch of ducklings," all except that one. Boy, he's really ugly. The really ugly duckling heard these people, but he didn't care. He knew that one day he would probably grow up to be a swan and be bigger and better than anything in the pond. And in the original, he kind of does. Well, in this version, as it turns out, he was just a really ugly duckling, and he grew up to be just a really ugly duck. The end. So yeah, this one is again a parody, though you could argue about satire, talking about realistic things. Like sometimes it might not be realistic that, in his case, but I would say this is more of a parody. It's making fun of something, it's creating an irony. It's something that you're not expecting. You know the original, you totally thought he was going to become a beautiful swan, but he doesn't. And that's shocking, right? So this is more of a parody than anything else. We're going to do one more. This one is a tried and true. You guys might know the story, The Tortoise and the Hare, where they go and they do a race. And in the middle of the race, the hare is very cocky. He totally thinks he's going to win because he's totally faster than that tortoise, right? He can totally run circles around that tortoise. But in the original, the hare gets a little too cocky and he takes a break. He eats some carrots in the version I've heard, and he takes a nice long nap. And he sleeps through the rest of the race, and the tortoise eventually wins. And it's a valuable lesson, right? Oh, you shouldn't, automatically assume that you're going to win something. You got to still try. In this one, I'm going to bring you to the top. The Tortoise and the Hare. Hare is often spelled H-A-R-E for the rabbit. This one's hare, H-I-R. Like hair on your head. Let's see if that makes a difference to the story. Once upon a time, there was a tortoise who was very slow but very dependable. He would always get where he set out to go. It just took him longer than most people. So one day, Rabbit saw Tortoise walking slowly but surely down the road and said, "Tortoise, you are so slow. I could probably grow hair faster than you run." "Oh, yeah?" said Tortoise slowly. "Yeah," said Rabbit. So they decided to race. On the day of the big race, Tortoise and Rabbit lined up at the starting line. Owl said, "On your mark, get set, go!" And Tortoise started to run. Rabbit started to grow his hair. Tortoise ran, Rabbit grew 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 his hair. Tortoise is still running, Rabbit is still growing his hair. Not the end. It's going to be a while. So again, this one, and then it just ends. And they have this long thing, and it's just going to take a long time. So this is, again, a parody. It's making fun of. It's not really talking about the world at large, or, a commentary or trying to make you think of anything. It's just kind of being really silly. It used the idea of hair and hair and took that and just ran with it. So it's just poking fun, and it's meant to be silly, and it's meant to make you think of the original story that you know, and how it's, tearing holes in it and making you rethink of the whole story at large. So it's very, very silly. So this is, again, a parody. Most of this book, if you haven't read it, is a parody. I mean, most of it is talking about, just taking what you think you know and readapting it into a sillier version. I'm not going to be reading at any point during these the Stinky Cheese Man, the story that this is based off of, which is the end one. It is my absolute favorite, but I think that I want you guys to be able to check out this book or buy it if you love it as much as I do. I own a copy of this at home, so you guys can go home or check out this book. It is a really fun story, and definitely great for a bunch of rereads. I grew up with this story myself, all of these stories, and I used to read them aloud to my brothers in silly, ridiculous voices. So we hope that you guys might stop in the library and check it out for sure. At the end of, I believe, one of the last sessions we have, we're going to be doing Princess and the Pea. So as I've been doing with some of these, I'll read the original source material, the original story, or an adaptation of the original, and then share with you guys this one. And now you can see side by side the comparisons, which I think I did in the first week, which was The Princess and the Frog. So I hope you guys enjoy this. We will be back next week with another awesome Fairy Tale Friday. But until then, we hope to see you guys very soon at our library. Bye, everyone.